I've seen it happen more times than I'd like to admit. Someone spots a cheap ice maker on a sale rack, grabs it, and a week later they're scrambling for replacement parts because the machine can't keep up with the demand of a busy bar or catering kitchen. The regret is real, especially when you're paying for a whole night's service and the ice just isn't there. So the question that keeps popping up is, does spending a little more on a commercial-grade unit actually save you headaches later? Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. In this review I'm going to break down the Manitowoc commercial Flake ice maker with the D420 bin, look at who really benefits from it, and point out the moments when it might feel like you overinvested. First off, let's talk about the environment this machine is built for. Flake ice is the go-to for seafood counters, cocktail bars, and large-scale events because it melts slowly and slides easily over food and drinks. The Manitowoc model promises 370 pounds of ice per day, which translates to roughly 150 kilograms, enough to keep a full bar running non-stop or to keep a banquet spread chilled for hours. That kind of output is not something you get from a typical countertop freezer-type ice maker. If your operation serves more than a few dozen guests per shift, you'll quickly feel the difference between a 20-pound home unit and a machine that can churn out a bucketful every 15 minutes. The first thing I noticed when I set it up was how compact the footprint feels for a commercial machine. The housing is tall and narrow, so it slides into a back-of-house corner without hogging floor space. That's a real win for venues that have to squeeze equipment into a kitchen that's already packed with prep tables, a dishwasher, and a walk-in cooler. The D420 bin, which holds the ice, is surprisingly spacious for a unit of this size. You can load a full bin and still have room for a couple of extra trays, meaning you're not constantly opening the bin to scoop out ice and risk losing cold air. Now, let's get into the day-to-day usability. The machine runs on a standard 120-volt outlet, and the water line connects with a quick-release fitting that a maintenance tech can hook up in under 10 minutes. Once it's filled, the system cycles water through a heat exchange coil, freezes it into thin flakes, and drops the ice into the bin. The whole process is silent enough that you don't hear it over the hum of the kitchen, which is a subtle but welcome detail when you're trying to keep the atmosphere pleasant for diners. One practical strength that shows up in real life is the easy-access design of the bin lid. It hinges open wide and stays open on its own, so staff can scoop ice with a scoop or simply tilt the bin to pour a handful directly into a drink. In a high-volume bar, that saves seconds per order, which adds up over a shift. The bin also has a built-in drainage plug, making it simple to empty any melt water without having to tilt the whole unit. That feature alone cuts down on the occasional soggy floor spots you sometimes see with cheaper machines that don't separate melt water effectively. On the flip side, there are a couple of hidden trade-offs you should be aware of. The unit's production capacity is impressive, but it comes with a water consumption rate that can surprise a facility that isn't used to a steady flow. You'll need to ensure your water line can handle a few gallons per hour without throttling the pressure. If your building's plumbing is older or you're sharing the line with other appliances, you might notice the ice output dip during peak usage. The solution isn't complicated. A simple pressure regulator or a dedicated line does the trick, but it's an extra consideration that often slips past the spec sheet. Another practical weakness is the bin size relative to the output. While the bin can hold a good amount of ice, a truly busy bar that runs non-stop for 8 hours will still need to empty it at least once during the shift. That's not a deal-breaker, but it does mean you need to have a staff member assigned to the task. In a small CAF where the owner is the only barista, that extra step could feel like a nuisance, especially if you were hoping for a set-it-and-forget-it experience. Who should buy this Manitowoc Flake ice maker? If you run a restaurant with a dedicated seafood station, a cocktail lounge that offers orthodox drinks all night, or a catering company that needs to keep large trays of ice-laden appetizers fresh, this machine is a solid match. The production rate will keep your ice supply steady, and the durable, stainless steel housing is built to survive the constant opening and closing of a busy service floor. It also makes sense for a small event venue that hosts weddings or corporate functions where you can't rely on